shall proceed with our situation. The woman, the progeny woman, Machal, has been sneaking after her employer or supervisor, Lida, through the downtown streets of the city of Kaledo. Actually, it's up on a hill. This is the fancy part of town, which is up on a hill across a river that partly circles its base. So I will repeat to you all that the area is clearly heavily polluted, and you can see occasionally that there are factory towers, very visible, not far, far in the distance, but clearly in and around the city. There are active factories with tall smokestacks, which are belching very, very dirty fumes into the air. And the general architecture looks far more Earth-like than you might have expected of an older variety of urban architecture. It's not very
I mean,
artistic.
but the way we have seen it so far, the inhabitants of this planet seems to be, one is like humans, and the other one is some kind of mutated monster-like creature. But what we have understood so far is that they were humans from the beginning, or is it
Okay. Well,
animals?
given that your a chance to observe is
Mm,
a little bit uh, is a little bit better. I would say that I can tell you a couple of things. I was about to call for a roll, but then I decided just now that your characters were very busy with all of your coordination for sneaking around. Remember,
mm.
all of your attention was focused on that. So other things to learn or observe are not really available to you. So I will tell you what you have been able to observe so far. That the humans that are very clearly and easily recognizable as the same species as yourselves do seem to be divided into two. There are the elite who live in the region that you're walking around on, and they appear to have jobs and lifestyles very similar to mid 20th century America or Europe. And then those all have some sort of bodily implants and replacements. All of them are partly roboticized or cybernetic in some way. So you have not seen an exception for that. Um, then you have people, other humans, who do not have these modifications. And without exception, the only ones you have seen like that have been wretched and poor and dirty and starved and live apparently somewhere in the wider expanse of the city that is clearly almost a prison neighborhood. So that's for the humans, right? Those, and the distinction is very, very sharp. You know that the first group call themselves progeny, and that they refer to the other humans as worms.
Worms.
Then you have these other creatures, and there are 3 or 4 types at least, and they are all humanoid in their posture. They stand up on 2 feet, but they are all modified forms of other creatures that have been modified to walk like this, and perhaps even to be capable of speech. And they come from different kinds of animals, so you have seen 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds. And so they are very distinctive in their kind, but they are so strangely different from one another that your characters are probably still a little bit confused about how to categorize them. You definitely know of the kinds that are very large, very huge, with big fangs exposed on the front of their face. Um, you also have seen a few others, and there was one recently in the last session. You did not interact with them, but they were some kind of tentacled creature. Um, and as I say, those are called spawn collectively, but they are clearly of different origins. And so, does that help a little bit, Ola?
Yeah,
Okay. So,
because yeah,
mhm. There's more to get if you were to stop and think, for example, especially Nadia, if she were to stop and think about what she has been. Wait. Um, Actually, any of you, Nadia, yes, but also Claire, if you were to stop and think about what you have been studying in those notes that you tried to memorize as much as you could, um, then you would be able to. Uh, I would tell you some more about the details of the spawn because you can get a lot of information out of that spying content. But right now you are very busy and don't have time to, sift through your memories and try to do a little zoology on strange forms.
who's in the front seat? I forgot.
I believe that we are with Albert right now, or no, or is it you?
Yeah,
It's you.
I don't know if I had the opportunity to like switch or that I was
At
in
this
the
point, you have
just
come
before.
to. At this point, you have come to a new area. Well, you're still in the same general urban area, um, but it's a different part of this office complex. You had to go through a few streets to get to it. This one is made of lots of uh, panels of mirrored glass, which is an architectural style that we are all familiar with. But like all the buildings, although it looks like it's suitable for a very tall skyscraper, it's really not very tall. Now, in this case, you will see that there's much more security at this building. This building includes, well, I'm trying to describe it a little bit better. Okay, first of all, this building has a driveway, a circular driveway that cars can get off the street and pull onto, one or two cars that are parked in front of it. I believe I mentioned it last time. Your characters probably cannot believe how disgusting these
Mm.
cars must seem. I mean, they are so filthy and they are just spewing immense clouds out behind them at all times. So you
It's not environmental friendly.
not at all, not at all. Yeah, in fact, one would almost say that the city is so industrialized that it is not just anti-environmental, but it is more like unhygienic. It's actually kind of unpleasant to contemplate being a person living there from your character's point of view, where the cars are almost all electric and environmentalism has been very much on people's mind for some decades. And there's another detail too that I don't want to get distracted by, but Earth's population is much lower than one might expect because of the plagues that hit when your characters were younger. So we haven't really addressed that very much, but we will later. So okay, um, let's uh, let's take a look at what your characters do because I said that there was some security to worry about, and there is. There are warning signs that warn that this is a high security area. There is um, uh, there are two heavily armed guards who are standing at the entrance, which is a glass door. Um, and then behind them, you can see into the area in the building behind them through the glass doors. That there is also a security area there. There must be some kind of a checkpoint or some kind of a registration process there. And the two guards are of a type you have not seen before. They are not as big as the cyborgs. They are about the same size as people, and yet they have extremely inhuman uh, body types. They basically look a lot like um, lizards standing on their hind legs. Their tails are very short. They don't reach the ground, so they just project off their butts a little bit, although they are thick lizard tails. And their legs, when you think of a crocodile standing on its hind legs, you would think of them having very short legs, but they are much more humanoid in their lower bodies, so they actually have more human like length of legs. However, their faces are a somewhat humanized form of alligator. So they hold their heads the way a human holds them, which means that their jaws project mostly down. But when they talk, they really do have the alligator kind of motion of their jaws, and they are very, and their eyes stare straight forward. They are have very intense stares. They have painting on their scales. They are wearing minimal clothing, although strangely, they are wearing ties, like a collar with no shirt, and a tie, like a businessman's tie. They're around their necks, and both of them. But they also have frightening, psychotronic weaponry of the kind that you are quickly learning to respect. So think of them as standing there in fairly serious positions of relaxed watchfulness at that door. Clearly, these guys are doing their job. So
Do they have sunglasses?
they do not have sunglasses, although I am very tempted to say yes, but they do not. They look like they should. It's easy to imagine.
Okay. I'm
And-
feeling
but
very uncomfortable. Everybody's going to sense it.
Right.
I'm not saying anything right now because then I will like blow my cover or speaking. And we haven't yet seen anything that is similar to a kind of an iPhone with an earpiece. So people don't go usually like talking right straight out.
Correct. So
into
that's
the-
one thing that you have noticed. I mean, the casual technology is easily almost 100 years out of date for you. So yes, Max. Sorry.
Can I have security? Can I make a security check
Well, let's talk
to
about what
see-
your characters are actually doing. There's lots of things that your characters could be doing that would call for a security role, but we need to know what they are. So first of all of you have rolled very, very well, and you all helped very much with all of your uh, staying unseen and finding the right, staying oriented and everything. So right now, I am going to say that your character has casually walked across the street or walked across down the street on the other side from the building, was able to spot everything that you needed to spot, and was able to step casually to a place where she can stop and look a little more without looking out of place. The character, the Machal, to anybody's observation, is just a woman minding her own business, walking down the street, and certainly not staring at everything and picking up every last little detail, which, of course, you are.